So for step 34, attaching the driver figure, well, we've got to do a couple things first. Obviously, we need to paint up the driver figure, and I'm going to do a bit of a customized version, not what you see on the box art. And then we're going to use a screw to attach the two halves of the helmet. Then we've got to paint this cover up, and we've got another screw to screw into the bottom of the head, and that'll attach everything. Now, there are the two screws that we need, but I've decided that I'm just going to go ahead and paint all of this. I don't think you need to see it. It's going to be fairly self-explanatory. I'm just going to paint it all up, and then we'll take a quick look at it before we move on. Okay, so I decided that I would just go ahead and do this step because I was also kind of experimenting with it as well. So this is what I've done. So I've painted the helmet gold. I've got red around the edges of the helmet. I've got the black balaclava. And then you can see I've got white in there, and then I just did a bit of a pinprick of black for the eyeballs. And I think the helmet turned out really, really well. Now, the interesting thing is, and this is where it sort of was a test, so I just decided I didn't really want to do it on camera. This is obviously polycarbonate, which would need the PS paint. And I really wasn't sure how I was going to do the body work or his body in this. And I didn't really have many colors. And I really didn't want to spend any more money on it because this doesn't happen very often. So I thought I would try something. So I actually used an acrylic paint pen, which is what I use for doing the white lettering on tires because it's flexible. And I basically penned in his body. I made a mistake here and I forgot to clear it off before I spray painted it black. But it's okay, I'm not too worried about it. Because really the only thing I really wanted to put time into was the helmet. But that's how I did that, and then of course I sprayed this all down with the Tamiya PS5 to give you the cover. So I'm happy with that. And I mean, you can do this any number of ways. I really just wasn't sure how I wanted to do the body, so that to me seemed the easiest way to do it. And again, I don't think it's that important. I think his helmet is more important than the body, but at least you get the outline of it, and it's not perfect by any means. And then I sprayed it down, and I was holding it here, so it's not painted, but I don't care because you don't see that when the body's on. That's all covered, so I've left it. So that means that step 34 is complete. So we're going to move on to step 35 now, and we're going to install the battery pack, and we're going to install our dust cover as well. So for step 35, installing the battery pack, well, we're going to put on our dust cover first, and there's a little, basically this lip is going to go under the front gearbox and then get screwed down with this screw. Then we need to put our battery in and connect it. But you can also see that there are some zip ties that need to go through these battery holders to keep the motor cables out of the way. And then of course we're going to clip everything in. So there's the hardware that we need for this step. So I'll set this up and we'll put it on. So if I grab our chassis here, you can see that we need to grab our body, and based on what they were showing here, I actually went ahead and used the zip tie. So you can see that the way my cables were, they were showing one going through this hole right here. I didn't need that. I only needed this one, which keeps the wires out of the way. So I'm only using the one zip tie. This here, you can see that this piece right here is going to go under this bit here on the chassis, so you can sort of see it going under that and over and around. And basically it just sits like that. And then this obviously is your battery cable. So all we need to do is put our screw into the back here with the washer. Put that there. And we'll screw that down. Just like that. There we go. And I mean, it's gonna sit fairly loose. I mean, it's on there well, but you can see that it just sort of sits loosely, other than that one screw, which is okay, because then when we have the full body sit over top of that, this will still be fairly firm. Now you can see with the battery, and I'm just going to grab one of these old batteries I've got. We're just going to pop that open, slide the battery in. That's going to go over the top again, just like that. Except I think we still have to get the wire through there so that when you close it, this will reach over to connect to your ESC, and which is more or less what it was showing here, through that hole and then connected. And this, it has all been done with the zap straps, etc. So, and I don't have the receiver in there at the moment, and I'm not going to because I'm using it in another kit. So I'm not too worried about this because I wasn't going to be using the hole for the aerial anyway. I don't want it, especially when the receiver antenna is so short. I wouldn't want it hanging out of the car anyway. So that's really all there is to it. We've now got our driver attached to our chassis. So that means that step 35 is complete. So now we're going to move on to the second part of this battery installation, which is unique. I've not seen that before, and we've got some zip straps that have to attach to the battery to keep it secure. So for the nylon band, you can see that the way this needs to sit is that the clip part is facing up and at the front. So if you think of this, this now has to, if you can see this, go up through here as you can see there, it's going up and then back down underneath. And then we'll move this forward. More or less. And then we're going to bend this band all the way back and have it go through the hole. And it'll more or less be like that as we tighten it. Now I'm moving that so that it's a bit more level, and then I can pull it back in. Now what you're seeing is obviously there's all this extra length, and it does say cut it off so that there's some but not much, and you use your side cutters. Now I'm not sure exactly, so I'm going to go here and cut it from this point, and that will give you something to grab when you're undoing this, because obviously you have to loosen it off to be able to get that battery out. Because I went and did the other side off camera just because I was kind of testing this out, and it's okay, but I don't think I left enough length to be able to grab it and pull it when I'm actually retightening it. So this side may end up being a problem, so I would actually leave it a little longer as I've done here. but I'll see, because I really don't like these sticking out so far. So I may cut this one back a little bit, but I need to see how this is going to perform either way, because I think this will be a pain trying to loosen it off, especially if this goes too far in. To try and, you know, recurve the band and get it back in the hole might be difficult. So this one may have been cut too short, but we'll see. So on this side, I'm leaving it a little longer for now. But the battery is definitely secure, and of course, you know, we'll just hook this up. But it's a different setup, because normally you don't have these sort of nylon bands or zip ties, you know, attaching your battery to secure it to the chassis. But it seems fine, so I'm okay with that. So that means that step 36 is complete. So what we're going to do now is move to step 37, and we're going to start working on the wheels and tires.